Hi, it's Mal, your gal pal, the host of Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. If you're looking for a podcast that's talking about relationship, careers, and pop culture from the Christian perspective, look no further. You have found her. And this podcast, myself and some of my friends are sharing our opinions from the Christian perspective, and they might be a little bit different than what you're expecting. So go ahead, pour yourself some tea. Let's get into it. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Hi, I am Matt, your gal pal, and you're gathered around my pink desk listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. Welcome back to the show. Today is just a solo Mal episode. I feel like the sound is ridiculously loud, but whatever. But yeah, welcome to the show. If you're new, I myself with some friends, today no friends, but a lot of times my friends discuss life, career, relationships, pop culture from a Christian perspective, and we call ourselves other girls because we're different. You're one of those other girls. Yeah, I am one of those other girls, and I'm okay with that. I'm different than some culture things. I'm not like other girls. That's not really the vibe. It's more of we were, ostracized, made fun of, or whatever. And now we're okay with that. We've accepted some things are a little different, and here we are. But really, a lot of these episodes are just me just chatting, giving perspective, giving my unsolicited opinion on just certain topics that have come up in pop culture. Yeah, I have a docket here that I refer to. If you're like, what is she looking down at? She's looking down at her docket on my phone. Okay, so a couple of housekeeping. We're reading this month's book club book that I'm blanking on, but the author was interviewed for Oops Spoilers, which is another podcast that's part of the Other Girls Media Network. There are two podcasts that are part of the Other Girls Media Network, really quick. Oops Spoilers, where Elise and sometimes myself review movies, TV shows, and books and interview creatives in that field. And Open to Life, which is Melanie's podcast, where she discusses life topics. So she's very crunchy. She talks about birth, and she is also certified in a really cool thing that I'm blanking on the name, but she's certified in it, so she knows what she's talking about. Anyway, those are also part of the Other Girls Media Network. So read the book. I'll link it. Don't worry. And then, so ideally next week you will have my first real Substack. I have a Substack called From the Pink Desk of, and ideally you will have my first little Substack about a topic that I have talked about a lot, that I have been doing research on. I'm putting a lot of effort into this, and also just for my own, so what I've really been thinking about when it comes to this podcast and my brands or whatever, except for jewelry, because jewelry really is for everyone, and I want, everyone. And I always wanted Those Are the Girls to be for everyone. But as times change and X, Y, and Z, some of the stuff is kind of just more of me just sharing and wanting you to come along. September, October, November, and December I have some really cool things. Fourth quarter. I guess it's the fourth quarter. No, whatever. The Burr months of the year, I have some really, really cool things that I will be sharing with you guys, and some really cool, I have a theme that I'm going through, and it's very personal to myself. And I've said from the beginning, I never wanted Those Are the Girls to be just a podcast for me, about me, ha ha ha. But I do think because things have changed, and what my audience, what you guys have been interested in, has changed. So it's more of me just sharing me. I always wanted this to be a two-person, but we've talked about this, and I think I talked about this 2 episodes ago. It's just hard to find someone that shares your vision and wants to put forth as much effort as you. I think that's the biggest thing. People that when you have an idea, a dream, a vision, people will say, wow, that's really cool. Oh, wow, I support you. Yeah, how can I help? But they're not going to want to put forth the same time, effort, and energy that is required if they don't honestly, I think if they don't have the same idea as you. So like sometimes it is a solo journey, and I just want to make clear I did not want it to be a solo journey, but that's how it turned out. So here I am. Okay. Anyway, what else? All that to say, I want the newsletter of The Pink Pour will be out, and if you have not already, make sure you have subscribed. Also, some people are saying that it has gone to their spam, so check your spam. I'm like super excited about The Pink Pour. I really want it to be a good magazine, Freudian slip, maybe one day, a good newsletter, The Pink Pour. So it's really just a combination of like things that I have been learning, things that I've enjoyed that I want to share and show you guys. And I'll also link my Substack. So yeah, ideally next week everything will be out. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's see what else. Okay. I saw the Odyssey last weekend. I want to talk about it. I'm going to try not to do too much spoilers. I will ideally, hopefully, at least we'll see it soon so we can do oops spoilers about it. But I really must discuss. It was really, really good. And actually, I want to talk about the Odyssey as well as Masters of the Universe really quick. These two movies have left me inspired for the same reason. They have both left me inspired in the same way for different reasons. Let me explain. So I'll say Masters of the Universe first, because that is the He-Man movie, and that's the one I saw first. I left that movie so inspired. Essentially, it's about, this isn't really a spoiler, I'm not gonna say like what happens, but essentially it's kind of like about, what your destiny is. You know what you're supposed to be doing, but you just cannot get to it. And that is the tale of Mallory Finch. Knowing what you're supposed to do, being aware of it, like having that thing in you that you're supposed to do this and just not being able to get to it. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because like honestly no one else in my life, at least when I've tried to have conversations about it, no one gets it. A lot of people in my life are either happy and like in the life that they want and their dreams have already come true or are in the process of coming true, or they just don't know where they want to be, so they're kind of just like going about life. And I just have never met anyone who knows what it is, has a clear path toward it, but just can't get there. And it was just, for me, it was just so inspiring to see like him get there, him be able to fulfill his destiny. And that just really, really, really touched me. So so here's something too, like I know that I'm not the only one to have certain experiences. Sometimes it feels that way. There's like this, I don't know, like something that feels that way, especially when like all of your friends are just in different seasons of life. Like a lot of my friends are happy and content and they're living out their dreams, and that's just not where I'm at. Or they're not quite there yet, but they are still content and they're not really concerned about it. So, I don't know. I don't have anyone in real life, but hopefully anyone listening, you could be in that same struggle, in that same journey. And like, this is going to touch you. So like, it was just so, I think you should see that movie now. And it was very clean. I think technically it's probably for kids, but like it was good to me. Like I enjoyed it. But I'm just taking a sip of my drink. I think this is like the perfect mug for my brand. My friend got this for me for Valentine's Day. She said she saw it and she was like, ick, but she was like, oh, Mallory would like it, which kind of really describes a lot of our friendship. She and I are exact opposites in like almost everything. But you still love your friend. I'm super girly pop, and she is not girly pop, but she's definitely not girly pop, if you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I love her. Okay, so that is how that inspired me. And then the Odyssey, you should totally see it. The part that was inspiring to me is, as a writer, if you don't know, I have a short story coming out in an anthology next year. As a writer and a creative, I was just thinking like Odysseus, not Odysseus, Homer. I don't know where Homer is. I don't know about his relationship with God. Let's just say he is in heaven. I just, like, it must feel so great to look down and see a piece of art that you created, something that you have put your heart, time, energy, and soul into 3,000 years ago, be adapted and be discussed and be enjoyed and be critically acclaimed. Like, that must feel great. Like, that must feel like, okay, I was on this earth and I left a lasting impact. which also got me to think of, you guys know my favorite book, one of my favorite books, Addie LaRue, and her and the conversation around impact and all that stuff for her as well. And like how she, like how what actually, I guess the discussion is like, or like the thought process is your life, like making sure like you're leaving an impact on this world, especially, and not to, if you're married and you have kids, like, yes, you're leaving an impact. You actually really are leaving like a tangible impact, like the impact that you have on your children and then their children and their children. Okay, sure. Not everybody's gonna have kids. So there's also this concept and this like, how am I leaving an impact? Like, what am I doing to like positively influence the world? And just like, gosh, like that must be really cool. Like that's inspiring to me. The whole story, I think Christopher Nolan did a fantastic job. This, I think, was my favorite movie of the year. You should absolutely go see it. Absolutely go see it. So, but like, I think I left and I was like, wow, 3,000 years ago, you write this poem and it's that impactful that people are still like, I'm in 2026 doing a podcast episode talking about it. Like, how? That must feel great. Like, that must feel like you've accomplished something. Anyway, so those two things have just left me really inspired and like, all right, Mallory, you got to get it together. Like, you have, like I said, like a million things. Like, I have so many ideas and like, I know what I need to do. And it's just a matter of like getting there, which I think, like now I'm like rambling, but then I'm going to get right back on track. And I'm rambling just because like I have no one, like I said, like no one in my real life feels this way. Like I'm the only person who feels this way that I know. But I know once again that there's no such thing as an original experience. So there's others who feel this way too. Hopefully you're listening and we can like talk about this. Like after class, we can like discuss this, like message me, like DM me if you hear this and you feel this way too. But it's like, all right, like get yourself together because it's a blessing to know what you're supposed to do. And it's a blessing to dream big. Whenever you see those things, that's like, girl, you're not dreaming big enough. Actually, I am. Actually, my dreams are like way too big and I need to like figure it out to tamper it down so I'm not always so disappointed. Back when I had like someone who was like consulting with me, I guess with the podcast, I would be like, okay, I think we should do da. And she'd be like, oh, okay, Melly, that's a really good idea. Now let's think about how to scale this down to manageable goals, something like that. And I was like, you're right. Like, it's just, that is not my, like, when people talk about that, like, you gotta dream bigger. No, not me. I actually need to manage mine a little bit better. And that is my crossbear. But anyway, that's just like an interesting place to be in, I think. And I think once again, the people who are like this get like a different type of discouragement, a different type of like disappointment than what is mainstream. Because once again, I just feel like everybody's like, oh, you gotta dream bigger, and I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. Like I've been dreaming big my whole life. Like I don't understand dreaming small. Where is the conversations about like how to have manageable dreams? Like that's more of like what I need. Or like, how to tamper your dreams to make them a little bit more realistic. But then, you hear the things like, oh, don't be realistic, be delusional. Yeah. So anyway, it's been like super, like as a creative, it's just been like super inspiring these last couple of months with the different movies and entertainment and the different things. I have also been like watching a lot of like, I guess, self-development YouTube. And this is okay. Now I feel like we're getting into, this isn't a story, but let's just like get into the episode, I guess you could say, while I talk about this next thing. So actually, no. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Everybody get your cup of tea or water or whatever, and let us. Okay. So I've been listening. Okay. This is kind of like a journey that I've been on. I've been listening to a lot more like self-help, self-development things recently because I had really fallen off of that in pursuit of making sure that I'm like following Christ or whatever. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, especially with like just like my life. A lot of people that I used to listen to, ABS, for example, And I'll just use her for example, especially because like I know a lot of people listening, you guys have like stopped listening to her as well, or you were never on that train. Like I'm always like shocked. Not always, it's only happened once. I was shocked when I posted about how like I don't listen to her and she's like so out of touch, and how many other Christian women were like, oh no, off that train, off that train, off that train, off the train. Like I was shocked because like no one really calls her out. No one's really like I don't want to say against her, but no one's really like called her out. So it was just like shocking. But a lot of women. So I'll just use ABS for example. I think like ABS, she is living a life that, you know, sounds great. Like, I mean, it must be great to have found your spouse right after college and then get married and have your dream job where you get to do this all the time, and you don't have to drive so much, and your husband helps you, and then you start having kids, and then that must be great. Like I'm happy for her. Like she's genuinely blessed. And I think sometimes when we are living this life, we see people like that and we're like, okay, the advice that they give, the things that they like, I should take that too. What I'm realizing as I'm getting older, maturing, and seeing the world for what it really is, she for sure is blessed. No shade to her. Her life is nothing like mine. It'll never look like my life will never look like hers. And what she did to get to her life and what I have to do to get to my dream life are going to be drastically different for a myriad of reasons. So I'm sitting here trying to take advice from her, trying to learn from her, and like she and I are living like completely separate lives. Like it, and people like there are, as you know, I see the world very black and white. I've talked about this, how like I see the world very black and white. I want to understand the grays. I just don't, like my brain just can't comprehend that, but I recognize that everyone else does. So I try to treat people like that, I guess. But so I do believe there are universal truths, but I do believe that like the world does operate differently for different people for a myriad of reasons. So anyway, all that to say, I just remember like she and a couple others during a couple years ago when self-development was really taking off. I just remember thinking, and this is me, like this is like very vulnerable and like humbling of me, because like that is the reason why I kind of took a step back, because they're talking about, okay, we got to make sure that we're focusing on God and this and that. And like looking back, I probably should not have, because the thing is, you're wanting to make sure that you are living a life that is influenced, like my thing, like I've said before, I want to live a life that glorifies God and is influenced by the Bible. Like I want to let the Bible change who I am, like how God views me and sees me and everything. I want that to affect me personally. So you're listening to people, you're learning, you're supposedly growing, you're this and that, and then you're realizing that like, okay, not that they are incredibly wrong because their life is a certain way, at least that's how it's being portrayed, but when you try to apply it to your life, it is a little different. And I think that you have to figure out what works best for you. And all that to say, lately I've been listening to some self-development and like been really working on some stuff. So I am really excited about like sharing some of those things that I'm learning and like kind of just talking out just like what I'm doing now. Because like I said, and I've said a million times, like I really don't have anyone else who gets in real life who gets what I'm going now. A lot of people in my real life are just really blessed and happy and content where they are, which is once again a blessing. I would love to be happy and content. Like that'd be nice. But yeah, so I've been listening to a lot of self-development, and I think that that's where I'm at in this journey of life, I guess you could say, is I'm at this place where I want to be better, become better. I want to reach my goals. Like it is exhausting, and it's exhausting, like having so many goals and wanting to reach them and just not being able to do it. Like that is just a tough place. But I will say it is better than not even knowing what your goals are. If I'm going to compare, or if I'm going to like try to find the positive, it is better than not knowing. It's just, how do I get there? So anyway, that is that. I feel like I was going somewhere with that story, like explaining all of that, and I can't remember where or why. So we'll be right along. Let's see, anything else? Yes, last thing before. If you do not know, I have a jewelry store. These pieces jewelry. I made this necklace, made this bracelet. This bracelet is available on the website, this heart one. I can flip over the hearts so you can see the color of the hearts. And then I made the watch. I'm gonna have more watches. I'm gonna be making more watches. I'm gonna have some silver watches soon. Yeah. And these are all pieces by Mallory. I have a jewelry store called The Pink Rose, and it is available at www.shopthePinkRose.com. I have a myriad of pieces, and my really heart behind this jewelry is just to give you pieces that are really cute and elevate your outfit that you can wear to work as well as wear not at work, and just like to add something. Like, the whole point of jewelry is to add and enhance. You're already beautiful. You already probably have on lipstick. You have your makeup on. Your hair is done. Your jewelry is just supposed to enhance and add. Take you the look that you're going for to the next level. And that is all that I aspire for my jewelry to be, is just like that piece for you. So it's available at shopthepinkrose.com. You can also follow the Instagram, shopthepinkrose, and use the code OTHERGIRLS for 10% off of your purchase. Really cute pieces available. I'm going to have more. I'm going to have more that I've made. I'm really getting back into making jewelry. I love jewelry. I've loved jewelry my entire life. Well, since I will say, like, I got my first jewelry kit in the 4th grade. Loved it ever since. Like, it just adds to you. I've said this before, if you are ever out and you see me, I don't have on at least a pair of earrings and a necklace, just know I was rushing. I'm already having a bad day. Come give me a hug and like tell me it's going to be okay. Like, I cannot leave the house without some sort of jewelry on. And if I do, that means that I was rushing and the day was already going terribly. I have to have on jewelry. So yeah. shopthepinkrose.com, use code OTHERGIRLS10 to get 10% off. All right, so first story-ish thing, aside from me ranting, is, I went to the 5 things worth the money trend. Okay, these are in no particular order, but these are things that I do spend money on, kind of, sort of. One, I kind of, sort of spend money on. I guess I'll do that one first because of my life circumstances, but anyway. Everything else after this, I do spend money on, and I think are definitely worth it. So the first thing is, I'm going to say, is living in a good area. I don't mean you have to. So something that my mom always taught us was, like, you don't have to necessarily live in the biggest house in your neighborhood, but you do want to live in a good neighborhood. So I do think taking the time to spend money to live in a good area. You don't have to, have the biggest house. You don't have to be in the nicest part of that area. But I do think where you live does make a difference. Actually, as a matter of fact, I know it makes a difference. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in my friends' lives. Like, where you live makes a difference. And I do think spending the money, if you have the extra money to spend, spending the money is going to be worth it to live somewhere better. When I lived in DC, we lived like walking distance from a train station. I am so glad, like, tiny things like that, like living walking distance from things, living close to a train station, living in an area with, let's be real, with less crime, living in spaces where you have like more like wiggle room to do things. There is more space. And living in a good area for me can be something completely different to someone else. That's why it's important to know, like, what you consider good. Like, a lot of things are tailored toward you. What is your dream? My dream is not to live with near a bunch of college and like early 20-year-olds screaming and up late all night. That is not a good living situation for me. But you listening, that might be your dream life, and that is a good area for you. So you should try to use somebody to live there. Okay, first thing. Second thing, and this I do, everything else I do spend a night out with friends. I genuinely think that being with your friends makes such a difference in your quality of life. I know that it is hard to make friends. I know that a lot of people are struggling right now with that. I know there's a lot of crazy people out there. I know that sometimes people hurt you. But I think, like, once you find really good friends, do whatever you can to foster that relationship and hold on to them and time with them. I think going out of your way to do things to spend time with your friends is always going to be worth the money. A night out, I'll just think of, like, recently, if you're following along with my badge journey, earning my patches for the summer, I went to my friend. So I was originally going by myself, but then she wanted to go for her birthday, so she and her sister ended up coming to the Science Museum, and the 3 of us had like such a great time. It really rejuvenated my soul. Like, I came back Friday night. It made my Saturday morning like even more like, like, it just, spending time with your friends, a night out, some of that is always worth the money. Next, Netflix. I know that Netflix has ups and downs, but I don't know. There is always something on Netflix. Now, what I'm looking for might not be on Netflix, but there's always something. And currently, right now, let me tell you that the worst blank series they have going on, like the worst roommate, the worst neighbor, the worst chef's kiss. Let me tell you, if you guys have not watched the worst roommates, I think there's 2, maybe 3 seasons. The people that people let live with them is insane. Y'all need to be way pickier. Way pickier. But then again, this one woman, her roommate was her best friend for years. And they found out that the FBI intercepted her roommate. This person was supposed to be her best friend, getting like illegal drugs from the black market to poison her. Okay. Anyway, that series, Chef's Kiss. And of course, you guys know my favorite BoJack Horseman is on there. I do a rewatch every couple months. It's just, Netflix is just something that you need. I actually need a petition for them to bring Community back to Netflix. It's on Peacock right now, but if Netflix brought Community back, oh my gosh. Anyway, Netflix. The next one, Spotify. I love Spotify. I remember when Spotify first came out and they were sending you all these emails. I'm like, I'm not doing Spotify. I have Pandora. You guys remember Pandora? I'm not doing Spotify. I have Pandora, no Spotify, no Spotify. And then I want to be honest, I think my brother got Spotify and was like raving about it. I was like, let me just see what this is. Love Spotify. I will spend money on Spotify. Like, that is something I think I've told you guys already. I have a flip phone. Part of the reason why I'm having such a hard time switching over is because I need Spotify. Spotify has music now. It has audiobooks and podcasts. Okay, hello. I love Spotify, but my favorite thing about Spotify is data. I love data analytics. I love around the end of November, beginning of December, when you get that notification, your year in wrapped. That is like the best part. I love it. Apple tries to do it. I think Amazon Music tries to do it. Not better than Spotify. Sorry, Spotify does it best. Even analytics for the podcast, I like the way they do it. Now, I am a little podcasting analytics. Here's from like behind the scenes. What do they call inside baseball? Podcast analytics is very like kind of hard to measure because it's just not as like clear as when they would do TV, which is weird because you would think the TV would be harder. But like every podcast analytics are just like really weird and complicated. Anyway, so yeah, like girly pops. Yeah. Love Spotify. We'll spend money on Spotify. And then last thing, investing in business. That is something I do spend money on. I invest in this podcast, and to me, it's worth it. I invest in my jewelry store. Let me tell you, if you have a side thing that you do for funsies, you're never going to regret. You're never going to regret investing in it. That to me is always worth it. Those are things, that's just something you're not going to get me to not do. I'm always going to invest in this podcast. Ideally, I won't be investing it soon. I'll be making my money back, but that's ideally. Who knows? Hopefully, but who knows? Either way, you will never regret doing that. Especially if you're interested in doing a podcast, do it. Ask me questions, reach out to me. Now, once again, I've said this before, make sure you double reach out to me, especially if I'm not following you, because it goes into requests, and sometimes I don't check my requests, because sometimes my requests are like crazy. They're either, I have 3 requests, actual genuine inquiries, or someone who I should have already followed back, and I guess for whatever reason I hadn't. Spam, some sort of spam. Hey, do you want to, my jewelry page sometimes will get like, hey, we sell jewelry, would you like to be an ambassador? And it's like, you don't say this is a jewelry page. And then 3, just like mean, vile stuff. Now it's mainly about like my appearance. Before it was about like, other stuff I did, but now it's really about my appearance. So it's like one of those things. I don't always check it. So double message me. Okay. You should make a podcast. All right. Those are the 5 things. Let's go over them one more time. Making sure you're living in an area that you consider good. Your living arrangements, always worth the money. Number 2, a night out with friends. You will feel so much better when you have fun with your friends. A night out with friends is always going to be worth it. Number 3, Netflix. There is always something on Netflix. what you're looking for might not be on Netflix, but something else will be on Netflix always. And it's just the original. And like, I feel like I just can't not have Netflix. Number 4, Spotify. Spotify has podcasts, audiobooks, music, and analytics. The best thing about Spotify is the data analytics at the end of the year. Like, always worth it. We'll always have it. And number 5 is investing in your business, like what you like. If you want to do a podcast, if you want to make jewelry, if you want to do art, whatever, that is always worth the money. Putting money into that, you're never going to regret that. So yeah, those are the 5 things worth the money. That trend I wanted to share. Okay, let's do this last story. Okay, this is one of the stories that I wanted to do with someone else, but it's just me today. So I'm just gonna be like rambling, I guess. Okay, there's this book coming out that I doubt, like, part of the reason why, because there's a bigger discussion about this story, but like, I don't think anyone in my audience, I haven't read it. I don't know. Let me know if you have. Like, I don't think anyone in my audience has read it. It's just not something that I think like I would read, or like I think like we would read. And if you have, like, no judgment, but we're going to discuss it. But yeah, the book Haunting Adeline is getting a movie, and all over my TikTok, book talk, they're talking about it. That's all it talks about last week is the Haunting Adeline movie. So let me like read this. Actually, let me read like the description of it, because to this day, I still am not completely sure, other than like there is a graphic sexual assault. There is stuff like that in it. Okay. Haunting Adeline's description from Goodreads. The manipulator. I can manipulate the emotions of anyone who lets me. I will make you hurt, make you cry, make you laugh, and sigh. But my words don't affect him, especially not when I plead for him to leave. He's always there, watching and waiting, and I can never look away. Not when I want him to come closer. The shadow. I didn't mean to fall in love, but now that I have, I can't stay away. I'm mesmerized by her smile, by her eyes, and the way she moves, the way she undresses. ... I'll keep watching and waiting until I can make her mine, and once she is, I'll never let her go, not even when she begs me. Interesting plot. This is my first time actually reading her. Oh wow. Okay, so guys, we're finding this stuff out in real time. Okay. This review says when he rapes her, I guess trigger warning for this discussion, when he rapes her multiple times, but is justified because he kills pedophiles and sex traffickers for a living? Question mark. What is this? What is this book about? Oh my gosh. What a weird... This is a review. I don't know why I read this when I know I don't like dark romances, so this is entirely new to me. This romanticizes abuse. Nothing about this relationship was romantic in the slightest. This is literally a prime example of Stockholm Syndrome. I am so scared of men, it isn't even funny anymore. I don't like to publicly write mean reviews about books I don't like, but this one deserves it. This is so, like, wild. Okay. There's significantly more 5-star reviews, though. That was a 1-star review. Oh, this person says, now that I get into it, I gotta say that even though this book is marketed as 18 plus, I personally think 21 plus, it can be very triggering. This was all hype, no substance, and I think, wow, I don't know if I should be more concerned about the fact that this book has a rating above 4 stars, or that it romanticizes justification of sexual assault and stalking with, oh, but I'm a good guy because I save women and children. This is so fascinating. Anyway, everybody was talking about it. And, you know, I have not read the book. I mean, I've heard enough about it. I've read these reviews about it. But I'm not, like, I can't sit here and say, like, this book should definitely be blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily believe in censorship. I do believe that certain books are appropriate for certain things and certain people. I do believe in that. There's a time and a season, a time and a place. But what I want to discuss is, like, this whole overarching, especially like as a writer, this whole overarching, like, where is freedom of speech, especially when it comes to entertainment and content. And like right now, this probably would be a better conversation for oops spoilers. I wish I had Elise on. Anyway, I'll share this, and then Elise and I will have this conversation in general another time too. But I really want to share this because this is like pertinent to what's going on right now. Like, freedom of speech and social responsibility, like that kind of conversation around it, because, you know, I'm going to assume this author is not trying to say like, hey, as long as someone, kills pedophiles and human traffickers, they have free reign to do whatever. But that seems to be how the book is being interpreted. Like, is there room for her to like reflect? Or is it like, you know what? I wrote this, I'm unashamed. And like, at some point, you know how I feel. Like sometimes you do have to like double down. Don't always like give in to the mob, as the kids say. So like there's that aspect. I personally, that's not something I am interested in reading at all. Like I have zero interest in reading anything like that. So, and I just can't imagine writing stuff like that. Some things that some of my friends read, I'm just like, oh, you guys are really treading lightly. Because I don't like the concept of that. And something I was talking to someone about actually just yesterday. Can you have these and I saw a TikTok about it after I was having this conversation. I'm like, oh, the phone really is listening to me. But anyway, essentially, can you have these dark themes in books and art and it still glorify God? And yes, but it has to be, is this thing that's happening being glorified, or is the redemption and the changing of the thing or being glorified / is this terrible thing by the end referred to as a terrible thing? So, for example, it does not sound like that for this book. In that review, it said that the rape was considered okay because of the things that they did. Well, rape is never okay. That's never okay. That's never good. That's not ever acceptable. So then if by the end of the book it is not expressed that that is not like what has come across, that is not how it's going to be interpreted, then I don't think that A, glorifies God. Let's start off with that. Or B, I don't think that's a good book. Is that crazy to say? Like if you're, and the thing is, like, I think the thing that's like crazy about that is like we can argue over, I'll say abortion. We can argue over whether abortion's good or bad. Obviously, I think it's bad. We can argue over that, but like we can't argue over whether rape is good or bad. So like at the end, rape equals bad. Like that, like everybody can agree on that. Like that's so non-controversial. What a weird book. And they're going to make it a movie or a series or something. I don't know. I think it's a series. Sorry, not making a movie. No, let me see. Let me see what the articles. I didn't even read the article. Series. They're making it a series. Like what? Weird. And then like I guess the next conversation I think we should be having though is like read. Everybody should be reading. I don't care if all you read is just like romance novels. I do care if all you're reading is like rape fantasies. Sorry. Like we listen, we don't judge. I judge. I don't think you should be. I don't think that should be the only thing that you're reading. I am trying not to judge you if you read it at all, especially because like you could also be reading more literary things, which I want to do more of. Like I actually like I'm not perfect. I don't read rape stuff. I don't even really like to read sex and I skip over the sex scenes in books. But that's also on me being like a prude. That actually has like a huge reason for that. But these like if you're continually listening to these things, if this is like part of like your listening experience or whatever, if this is your listening reading experience, then like that stuff gets in your I don't think it's healthy. I think we should have a variety. Do whatever you want, like listen to whoever, whatever, but I do think like for a more rounded, more educated person, you do need to have a variety. Now, does that mean you can read I think you can read like 50 thrillers and then like something else and then something else? Like I don't think that you have to, every other book needs to be something else, or if you read 5 romance novels in a row, you got to read 5 thrillers, you got to read 5 Pride and Prejudice-esque books. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I think there should be a little bit of a variety just to make you for your better growth and improvement. And I do think if you're just only reading a bunch of books with, because the thing about a thriller is that when there's a serial killer, at the end serial killing equals bad. The thing about like this book and all the and books similar to this, I don't know other books similar to this. This is like, once again, this is like outside of my like reading like journey or whatever, but it's part of book talk, and I'm a part of book talk now. I'm in a book club. I don't know if you knew that. Outside of those with the girls, like one of my friends started a book club. Anyway, but the thing about that, especially if she's like, the person said that she's glorified, like, it's okay because they kill pedophiles and human traffickers. What? Like, what are we watching and consuming and we're saying it's okay? What are we doing? What are we doing? And no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I read like 6 thrillers in a row. And then like, I personally think I probably, that's not the best. Even though I don't feel like, I listen to true crime. Like, I don't have that thing of like, oh, I'm scared. I don't get like that. Like, I feel like I'm fine. I'm safe. But I do want to be better. Like, I want to have a more well-rounded. I want to be more well-rounded. Well-rounded. I want to be more well-rounded. That means you have to read different types of books and genres. And I think the more you put in one type, it can affect you. That's all I'm saying. What do you guys think? Do you think that this book being made into a series is like weird? Ideally, and then the last part about this, I've seen people talk about, it's kind of like taking these themes and stuff in a book and making them into a series is going to be a lot different, and it's going to reach a wider range of people. Very true. Also, I'm wondering if like maybe it will go a different direction in the show because of that. I don't know this author. I don't know much about this other than like, it is very controversial. So yeah, I don't know, guys. Like, what do you think? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Yeah. If you read the book, like, once again, no judgment. I haven't read the book. I mean, I don't necessarily know if you should be, but no judgment. I'm curious what you thought about it. Yeah. What do you think about it becoming a series and all that? Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope that you share it. Stay tuned for more offline, email, YouTube, off social media, not online, off social media type things that I'm going to be doing. Go to thoseothergirls.com, go to the YouTube channel, my Substack, jewelry store, all that jazz. Thanks for gathering around my pink desk. And make sure you share this, like, review, comment. Let me know your thoughts. Message me if you are the type of dreamer that I am and you feel so alone. Message me. Yeah. Have a good day, night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Bye.